So, for other developers, you guys who are watching this, like more interested in how the development process worked. For these characters, basically what I've done is clear vision target object. Uh, Obviously, that's not going to be the name of the game. It's just so I can. It's just the initial name that I used for the character. Um, so what I've done with the target object is I've broken it up into like several parts. So one part is the arm, which is the front arm, which doesn't stick out. It's not this one. That's actually the gun arm. So for example, these are all sub-objects. So the top of the arm, the bottom of the body, the head, the hat, and so on. And why I've broken those up is that if you shoot one of them, then we can basically delete that off the character. So for example, if somebody shoots the gun arm here, that what it does inside of this script is it will actually it will, if I can find it, yeah, it will destroy itself. But before it gets destroyed, I mean, before it disappears out of the scene, what it'll do is it'll spawn the particles arm. So that's like the arm flying off, and it'll also spawn the particles, the blood from arm, which is like a kind of star splat that goes out like this and disappears. So that's that's a nice little effect, and also it spawns the pain sound as well. So that's that kind of screaming sound that you're hearing when you shoot the arm off. So what I need to do is add a little bit of variety in here. Obviously, I can't just have one pain sound. I'm going to add, like, say, 3 or 4 of those, and then that adds a little bit of variation to the sounds that are coming out. So the next big thing is I'm trying to think to do is the rifle cock delay we already did. I think what we're going to have to try to do next is a bit of a game over state. So we've got these characters going across the screen here from left to right, and one of the goals is what I'm thinking is basically is you've got to save a girl here. There's going to be a girl, and these guys are trying to get her. And if they reach this line, then it's basically game over, and you've reached as far as you can. So, I think that's going to be something fun as well. I might have this girl sort of like, say, scared or crying or something like that as she's over here. And then when the guys do get to this part here, there's going to be like a girl scream, and I've got some good sounds for that. That should make it pretty interesting. It should make it, a game that kind of stands out and people notice, and maybe they show their friends, which is the whole point, of how this kind of not just in independent development, but all games, need that kind of viral element in order to be successful. There is marketing budget behind games, of course, especially with large companies. But really, for an independent developer and a small studio like ours, we need people to pass the game around and show their friends. And so the more kind of extreme that we can go, or the more, outrageous, then good. That's the kind of point. But the other thing I was going to mention to everyone, this development process that you're seeing here is very, very independent. It's very, it's not EA, it's not Activision or anything like that. In those kind of companies, in those sort of team sizes, there's a pre-production process, there's a design process, there's studio heads involved. There is an element of testing, of course, but that's done through a QA team, and there's set times for gameplay testing, and then they'll have like a round table, and they'll discuss it and see which works best, and so on. In this indie approach that I'm taking right here, it's very easy to play around with mechanics, and it's limited only by, say, how much time you've set yourself or your imagination, which is really cool. I love to work this way. It's a lot of fun. Some of our games obviously involve larger teams, but for independent, smaller games like this, it's basically me, the designer behind it, and also the programmer. I'm also the artist as well on this particular game. As you can see, this is very, very simple art, but I think the style kind of works. It's meant to look simple. It's meant to look kind of cheap and almost like 8-bit style, which is fine. As long as it's consistent in that style, then that's fine. I don't want like an awesome, golden gun down here that's got all of this bling and 3D on it, and then have these little characters that are just flat 2D that just look weird. So, I'm just seeing if there's any other points that I wanted to sort of update you guys on. the spawning object, the target object spawner. This basically, all of this does is it spawns the objects over time. Now this one will have to get faster and faster. What this does is this is just a single script that spawns one of the target objects, and this is the target object here, and we assign that inside of the editor. We just drag it over. And then what we're saying is every 2 seconds here, start on 2 seconds, repeat every 2 seconds, is instantiate or create a target object, which is a little character guy which has a hat or a cigarette. Now this is going to have to speed up and get faster and faster, of course, or else it would be too easy. But we want that to be kind of gradual. I think what we want is the player to, have a nice difficulty curve as the game goes on. And it's going to be hopefully a bit of a panic once all of the characters are sort of over this side, and it's like, oh my god, I've got to shoot these guys quickly, but game over. And then you get your score and everyone's happy, and, well, not everyone's happy, but if the score is good, they're happy. So, that's probably the next thing that I'm going to have to do is a game over state right now, and then come back to you guys and show you the update video. The other thing that I'm also going to include is basically the in-app purchases, which are going to be a set of rifles. So this initial rifle is basically a 2.2 second delay between shots, and you have to reload. The gun reloads automatically, but it's going to be a 2.2 second delay. So you can't shoot everywhere and kill the crap out of all these characters. It's going to be a delay time on that. So the second gun, though, is going to be basically you can fire 5 shots, and it's going to be a quicker reload time. And then the third gun, which can only be used once per game session, is basically like an AK-47, where for say 10 seconds it's automatic firing, and you can shoot everything up, or a minigun or whatever it may be. And that can be sort of activated by tapping the button up here. I'll put a button, and then there's going to be a silhouette of the gun that you actually have here. So I don't want to make the screen too crowded, so I want to move this score maybe a little bit smaller. Maybe don't include the high score because it's just taking up space, and the high score is going to be visible in the main menu screen anyway, so we'll see about that. But I think, having something like a weapon is a pretty obvious in-app purchase. Like when I say in-app purchase, it's like you can buy something in the game, a microtransaction, some people call it. It's a pretty obvious choice because I think, it's a real-world object and people can see it and they know the value of it, and they know that it's going to increase their ability because everyone knows that this weapon is better than this weapon or whatever. They know that AK-47s are rapid-fire automatic guns, so I think that should sell okay if people like the game. Then they see that they want to improve their score and do better, and great, they'll want to get the extra weapon. In an update, we might include things like, say, hand grenades or mines or something like that, maybe bosses, different levels and modes. It really depends on the success of the game. If it does hold and people really enjoy it and it becomes a bit more viral and it sees some success, then yeah, definitely, we'll do more updates and add more capabilities, maybe a multiplayer mode, something like this, which would be pretty cool, I think, in this situation. I think multiplayer would be really interesting to play. But from an independent developer perspective, it's more about kind of seeing, the way that I approach games is build a semi-decent game. We could polish to the max and make the world's biggest game, and that would be great and people would love it. But it could take six months to a year to do that, and then the game comes out and it isn't that successful. And then you're in a bit of a financial predicament in that case, and I think a lot of developers face that. So the model that we take is basically build a game that is fun but small. It can be done quickly, people enjoy it, and then whichever game seems to do quite well, then focus more energy on that one. If another game that sticks, then it doesn't stick, then you can leave that and people can enjoy it and it's free, no problem, but focus on the ones that are more successful and people are really starting to enjoy. So, but yeah, it's just a little bit of an insight into the Cobble Play business model. And if you guys have any questions, of course, let me know, and we can. the How to Make Mobile Games channel is basically focused not just on development itself, but on the marketing side, the publishing side, and the business approach as well. We've not done any of those videos yet, but I'm hoping to add a little bit more soon. But as always, let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll be happy to do some videos. So, but for now, I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to come back and then do another update video soon for the developer diary for Clear Shooting Sniper X. But for now, guys, take care, and I will speak to you soon.